Every single horror movie on this list is a certified banger. A scary, terrifying, nail-biting, peek between your fingers slapper. And they are all hella underrated and deserve more attention. So my name's Rookie, I love horror movies, and I'm gonna list as many underrated horror movies as I can in 3 minutes. Prepare yourself. This is gonna go fast. We need to do something. A family are seeking shelter from a storm and they're trapped in the bathroom for days while something evil was lurking in the walls. Satan's Slaves. If you love the Conjuring movies, you will certainly love this film because this is essentially a Conjuring film, but it is Indonesian. Fresh. A woman starts dating a guy who seems perfect, but there is something very, very off about this guy that she is about to find out. Also, this is a Disney film. La Llorona. Do not confuse this film with The Curse of La Llorona. That is essentially a Conjuring universe film, and it's pretty bad. La Llorona is based on the same folktale as The Curse of La Llorona, but this is a significantly better film. Marui Video. This is a South Korean found footage horror movie about a cursed videotape. If you want to be scared, check this one out because it's creepy as hell. My heart won't beat unless you tell it to. Two siblings looking after a younger sibling who has a disease that makes him only want to consume blood. The Quiet Ones. A British paranormal horror movie centered around a professor and some students who perform experiments on this young girl until she loses her sanity. Red State. A group of horny teenagers encounter Christian fundamentalists who have a very sinister plan for them. Straw Dogs. A brutal horror movie that was banned in 1971 starring Dustin Hoffman, taking place in Cornwall, England. Man has to protect his wife from country bumpkins. We're all going to the World's Fair. An analog horror that centers around an online game and it gets incredibly creepy. Mr. Jones. An American found footage horror movie about a couple who are trying to find essentially Slender Man before Slender Man was even a thing. Beyond the Door. A possession horror movie that came out in 1974, the same year as The Exorcist. It is essentially a ripoff of The Exorcist, but it still manages to be incredibly creepy. Lake Mongo. An Australian found footage mockumentary horror movie about a grieving family who invite a whole range of different paranormal investigators into their house after the death of their daughter. Sator. A deeply underrated folk horror movie centering on a family who are being observed by this thing called Sator. It's essentially a massive allegory for inherited mental illness. The McPherson Tapes. Family gathering around for a family birthday accidentally record an alien invasion. This was released in 1989. It's essentially found footage before found footage was even a thing. A Ghost Waits. An independent ghost horror comedy about loneliness. Funny Games. Psychological horror movie centering around a family who get tormented by these two stranger kids who turn up at the house one day. Low-key, this one is actually kind of brutal. Let's keep going. The Loved Ones. Another Australian horror movie about a lonely girl from school who has no friends, who kidnaps the popular kid on prom night. Her and her dad do some very unspeakable things to him. Low-key, this is also a very brutal film. Girl on the Third Floor. A spooky paranormal independent horror movie about a guy who is trying to renovate an old beat-up house, but the house has different plans. Apartment 143. Another paranormal found footage horror movie about a group of paranormal investigators who were invited to Apartment 143 to document paranormal goings-on. Antichrist. A grieving couple relocate to an isolated cabin in the woods after the tragic death of their son, and all hell breaks loose. This was probably the most brutal film on this list. 1922. A father convinces his son to help him unalive his wife, only for them two to become plagued by her disembodied spirit. This is super underrated, super creepy. 1408. John Cusack plays a writer who travels around the USA, writing about haunted locations, only he doesn't believe in the paranormal. That